Coming to you from the Nightbreed Studios, it's the Nightbreed Cast, with your hosts, Eyes Adrift and Avago.
This is the Nightbreed Cast Episode 6. I'm Eyes Adrift.
And I'm Omeed.
And welcome once again.
We need to do that again. I can't pronounce my own fucking name.
I'm Ovago.
Oh, God, damn it.
Well, if you just say I'm Avago right now, I can splice it in.
I'm Avago. My name's Avigo. And we go. Because
Okay.
my brain goes.
First thing, before we start the rest of our cast, which really, our outline is a little all over the place.
Yeah.
We kind of got a late start a little bit. We want to throw out a huge thank you to Dexella again for mentioning us on the live stream.
Absolutely. That was awesome.
That was fucking awesome. Thank you so much. Oh my God. I sent her a message right after and I'm like, oh, thank you. I just heard it. Holy crap. I go, I think I'm in love. And then I didn't hear from her, so I think I scared her.
Oh, no. Don't scare.
I think I love you. Oh, yeah. But anyway, so...
He's married.
Yeah, I am. Don't worry about it. Just safe for now.
Yeah.
So yeah, huge thank you. And then I did hear from her about a certain subject, which I will bring up later to make you listen to the podcast.
Oh, sweet.
Hell yeah. So, okay, here we go. Subject number 2, we're going to talk about the live stream, at least what we remember, because I didn't really get to go through the video again. I apologize.
Yeah, I didn't either. Work.
Yep, it was a lot.
Worked till 7 o'clock last night.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Jesus. It was a lot of building is what it was, and flying around, which was really cool. And they were talking about how you don't get that right away. You have to work up to it, which is really cool. So there's some sort of leveling system or experience system in place for that. But,
right, yeah, your skill set, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looked fucking amazing. Just the everything you can do. Oh my God, we were floored the entire time watching that live stream, and just I had a persistent boner the entire time. It was just like, when I thought I couldn't get harder, they said something or I saw something, and it doubled. I mean, it was insane.
Now you're gonna scare everybody. Right? Damn. No, I just kept watching, and the things that they could do, you know, like the healing, the rounding of the corners, the fact that you could basically do an area and fill the entire area with a material.
Yeah.
The fact that you can make something and then copy it and then paste it somewhere else.
Yeah, it's just they put so much thought into this. It's mind-blowing.
Well, the thing that was really cool is at the end of it, when he was building that wooden thing, they thought that he was building a ship.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that he basically built like part of it, and then he copied it, and then he basically flipped it and made like a round pillar.
Yeah.
Out of it. It was incredible. I was like, oh my God.
I believe that was Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith. The things that you can do just building. And that's just the beginning.
It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. The mech. You remember seeing the mech that he made?
Right. Yeah, that was awesome.
That was great because he had the fire coming out and he had smoke coming out of the back of it.
Oh, this actually reminds me. So yeah, one of the things that I really wanted to bring up, that I will bring up because this whole live stream and what they've showed has spurred all kinds of articles. Even Forbes has an article about how Landmark is going to basically save MMOs.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
EverQuest Next and Landmark. And I kind of agree with them, but I don't agree with them in the way that they think that it's going to save MMOs. Yes.
I didn't read that article, though. How do they think?
Right. Well, they were basically talking about the fact that, you know, the way you can build things and you can basically just, you know, the AI and you know, all these things, these cool things that you'll be able to do in the world. Mm-hmm. But so being an MMO junkie that I am, and actually wanting at some point to actually work for a company or make my own, which probably will never happen. But anyway, you know, I've had to do some research. And, you know, the one thing that comes up is the fact that for any MMO, and really probably for any video game, the most expensive part of development is the asset, the graphics, the artwork, this type of thing. This is the most expensive part of the game, because it takes hours and hours for artists to make things and then tweak them and make them look good. What I think SOE has here, and I don't know if they know what they have, not only can they make Landmark an amazing, amazing thing, but they can make EverQuest Next an amazing, amazing thing. What the MMO community needs is a set of tools, not just a graphics engine and not just this, that, and the other, to where you can piece together a game. We need tools that let anybody, not just artists, create graphics and assets. And if they were to, at the end of this, when they've finished the development, the major part of the development of EverQuest Next, if they were to take these tools and bundle them together so that basically, if I wanted to create an MMO, I wouldn't have to necessarily do it in Landmark. I could purchase these tools, their graphics engine, licenses, all this type of stuff, and develop my own game because of these building tools that they've created.
Nice. That's going to be...
That, I think, would very much change the MMO landscape.
That'll be a nice moneymaker for SOE. By the way, a side note, SOE, we are hireable. I'm a voiceover artist. I can do wacky voices or serious voices, and Av is a damn good coder, so I'm non-union, by by the way.
I'm not union either.
I can't afford that shit.
There aren't any. I don't think there's any coder unions.
No, if I wanted to get like union work, I'd have to join like the Screen Actors Guild. And last I checked,
good God,
yeah. Last I checked, I think it was like $1,500 a year, and yeah, that's just to say that you're in it. They don't really find you work or anything.
I know, they don't do shit.
Yeah, so there's a lot more non-union work out there than there is union work. So,
oh, I'm sure there. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we won't get into all that jazz. Okay. Wow. That was, I mean, that's, yeah, they definitely have something great in their midst.
Yeah, I think so.
But in Landmark, what we learned, well, what we already knew, but you can build with friends. You claim a piece of property. We aren't exactly sure how big the claim will be, but if you and your friends claim a bunch of properties around each other and give each other permissions, you can all build together and make a huge ass city.
Right. And that's one of the things that they talked about that's really exciting, is that as a community, you can get together and build cities and do all kinds of really cool things.
Oh, yeah. I hear you rubbing your hands together.
I know. I'm like,
you're thinking, I want my hands on it now.
I feel like a little goblin.
But yeah, it's gonna be fucking amazing. I'm absolutely floored at what they were doing. I mean, I think with all this, I think we might be able to look past the single hotbar for combat.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what I said. I mean, yeah, it could be a sticky point, but to me, and what we've talked about all along, is it's not just the combat system. Mm-hmm. There's got to be things to do no matter what. And that's what we loved about Star Wars Galaxies.
Absolutely.
So there's always something to do, whether it was crafting or just running around discovering things. And in Landmark...
Running around... in your hot pants. You guys have to add hot pants.
No, do not add hot pants.
Add hot pants.
No hot pants.
I want some hot pants.
You don't want to see this guy in hot pants.
Lobster.
It's quite disgusting.
You have to have hot pants. It's not an MMO unless you have hot pants.
I'm going to be scarred for life. Again.
Yeah, well, But we did kind of find out how tall you can build something. I believe they said it was, 1,500 kilometers up? Was that?
I think that's what they said, but that could change. That's just what it is now.
Yeah.
But the thing that kind of floored me about watching this video is this was just, the bulk building. So they were building all this stuff out, and then you can retexture and refine, and they didn't really have time to do a lot of the bells and whistles and tweak, like the one where they built the keep.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And the fact that you can build something and then change the material that it's made out of later with the paint.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh,
It's
amazing.
As long as you have enough of the material, it's great.
Right.
And then when you do delete it or heal whatever, you get those materials back, which is really, really cool.
That is very cool.
Oh my God. We could talk about this for a long time.
Oh, I know. It's just, you sit there, your brain just sits there and goes and speculates of, oh, what can I do? What can I build? I mean, it's going to be bad, especially for like the first little bit, because when I get into things like this, it could be hours. I mean, it'll be like 12 hours later and I'll be like, what? It was just 8 a.m. It's now 5 p.m. What happened?
Right. 8 p.m. But it's like with character customization. If they have really good character customization in that game, I spend about 4 or 5 hours customizing my character, because that's going to be me for the rest of my gaming career in that game, unless one of those 40 classes is an image designer like they had in Star Wars Galaxies. Right.
Well, and there could be certain combinations that that you can't have.
Stop your racing back there.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, sorry, I'm on my motorcycle while I'm talking here. And
This isn't NASCAR. You like NASCAR? NASCAR is like a fine wine.
Hey, the Speedway is just like 80. Well, it's about 50 miles from here.
Oh, nice.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Dang.
I'm sorry.
What was I talking about?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Comment on the video and remind us what we were talking about.
Somebody quick!
Yeah, which, by the way,
but nobody's listening.
This whole cast is going to be so fucked up and all over the place. But
I've had maybe 4 hours of sleep in the past 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of commenting and stuff, you can comment on the YouTube videos now. Google, they have fixed the issue where you can actually reply now. I can't reply, or we can't reply to past comments before the switch. It still has to take place in Google+, but any future comments we can reply to directly on the YouTube video or through the comments section. So go ahead, comment, subscribe, because there are going to be future giveaways, which So subscribe, come on.
But you have to be subscribed.
Yes, and then you have to email the answer in. But we guys, as of yet, which is why you should subscribe and listen to us every week, because you don't know when it's going to happen. It could happen now. Oh, no, not now.
Well, or it could be next week.
Yep.
Or the week after. Oh. Or the week after that. You just never know.
Boner.
If you miss it, and you miss the time frame, because we'll give you, maybe 2 weeks in the month to be able to do it, and then we're going to close it and award the prize.
Maybe.
You might miss out.
Maybe shorter. I don't know. Maybe we should do it. I don't know. Okay, anyway. Producer's letter. There's new lore coming soon. If you all have actually been reading it, I haven't been reading it, and I apologize. I know they're putting a lot of work into it, and it sounds really, really cool, because Av talks about it, and it gets me excited, but
I've only read part of The Enemy of My Enemy. I was reading it at lunch today at work, and, in my younger days, when I had tons of time, was a very avid reader, especially of fantasy. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very, very picky. I'm very, very picky about my fantasy.
Question.
What?
Does it have pictures? Because I'm used to comic books.
Nah, no pictures.
No
These
pictures.
are not graphic novels.
Yeah.
But I was very, very impressed with the quality of the writing. I mean, it really... The Enemy of My Enemy, that just from almost the get-go pulled me in and made me interested, which is...
Really?
I've read some books that are really slow to start, and you're kind of like, I don't want to read this. And then they get really good. But this one was very interesting from, page one.
Really?
And the writing, I think, is excellent, yeah. I could not believe... because I've read... Yeah, people will probably hate me for this, but some Dungeons and Dragons novels, and they're okay, but it's nothing. It's not like Raymond D. Feist or Tolkien or any of the the great fantasy authors,
right?
But these guys, Alex is Maxwell Alexander Drake. If the other ones are as good as this, Oh my God.
All right, I am.
I'm impressed.
I'll start reading them.
Seriously impressed. Yeah.
You know what?
I just need to get time to do it.
Send me a Kindle Fire, the new one, Fire X, whatever.
I'll send you an old Kindle.
Well, I don't.
I don't use, but I ain't sending you a Kindle Fire.
See,
I'm not sure how you think I made of money. I just bought a new car.
Well, it's like I don't have one at all. So
you don't?
No, not at all. And I've been looking at because there was that thing where they were selling the PS4 and one of those the really new Kindle Fires for $580.
Oh, wow.
But of course, that deal's gone within 5 minutes because everyone was buying a PS4. So I missed on that.
Right. You could look at, I got a refurbished tablet.
Oh, yeah?
For like $200.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I use instead of my Kindle. It's like I have one of the original Kindles, the little the keypad on it.
Right.
Got the really teeny tiny screen. It was great when I got it, but I'm just like, the screen's too small.
Right. Yeah.
And I like the touch screen.
Yeah.
Because then I could just flip pages by swiping instead of using the stupid buttons on the Kindle.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, that's like the Kindle. The new Kindles are they're the whole touch screen and everything. They're supposed to be better than the iPads.
But they're proprietary to Amazon.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like a real Android tablet. You can do a lot more with a real Android tablet.
Oh, maybe
It's like a lot of the games and stuff for the Kindle Fire are specific to the Kindle Fire.
Oh.
Now, I think you can. We're a little off topic here.
Yeah, we are.
But you can actually take the Kindles and you can actually load an Android operating system on them. People have done that.
Oh, interesting.
So you get it's a regular Android tablet. But if you're going to do that, you might as well just get a refurbished tablet.
Right. What one would you suggest?
I have an Acer. My mom has an Asus. They're both good companies.
Okay.
Either one.
Okay.
I paid and it's like an A200, but they have like an A210 on the Acers, and it's actually got a quad core instead of the dual, which is what mine is, and you get them for like $200.
Nice. I'm gonna have to
maybe
look into
even
that.
cheaper now. I mean,
I'll definitely have to look into that because it'd be great to just have some portable around, instead of printing these things off.
Yeah. I mean, I use it when I go on vacation. I use it a little bit around the house.
Hey, if anybody has any suggestions on what tablet I should get, leave a comment or email at nightbreedcast@gmail.com. Like us on our Facebook.
Or if you haven't used one, to sell them cheap.
There you go.
Let them know.
Yeah, you can email us, nightbreedcast@gmail.com. Facebook.com/nightbreedcast. Like us on there if you want. It don't matter. Also, if you do send any hate mail about reading Dungeons and Dragons books or us going completely off topic and talking about tablets, you will automatically be disqualified from any and all future prize giveaways.
You will learn that I am a big computer dork and I can ramble for hours on any technology topic. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding about the disqualification. Then we probably get our shit pulled from SOE. But
right.
Okay, so Dustin, being a loyal listener and possible guild member, has given us a huge list of items to talk about, and honestly, we really didn't go through it because we didn't really have time. We're sorry. We'll do this one by one and stumble our way through it, but he thinks combat should be a mix of third-person player fighter combat and first-person shooter combat with combos and hitboxes, which would equal real player skills. He did say something about use the DC Universe Online and PlanetSide, marry those two together and poop out a EverQuest Next combat system. But I don't think that's how it's going to be, nor should it be like that, because I think there's going to be tabbing, but it won't be solely tabbing.
Right. So I don't think tab targeting is ever going to go fully away because you still have to know. I still like to know at least what I'm facing.
Right.
Or even some games will have things like if I tab target something, it'll auto face me to that target.
Right.
For those of us that don't play first-person shooters all that much, I used to. I don't really anymore.
Yeah, I kind of don't really anymore either.
So they're all fine and dandy. And I think, you know, I don't know if it's a happy medium, because I don't think it's 50-50, but there are aspects of those games that can work in an MMO. And I really wish I could remember the game. It was a very unique tab targeting system. It was a sci-fi MMO, but it had tab targeting, and you could lock onto a target that you had tabbed to and hard lock onto it, and then use the game to aim. Or when you were shooting, you could even, you know, use the crosshairs and shoot. You didn't actually have to be locked onto a target.
But see,
it had a combination of both.
It almost sounds like NGE, the very early.
No, this was actually very well done.
Okay.
Very well done. They actually went out of business.
Oh.
Because they couldn't keep players. I wish I could remember the game. It was some famous sci-fi author who it came out with it.
Okay.
The name just escapes me right now because it wasn't out for very long.
Right.
Well, I guess it was a couple of years and then it went out of business. But I think that could work, you know, especially if, you know, with what, you know, Dustin had suggested last week and kind of what we came up with. If you, like, say, are a ranger and you can tab onto a target and then maybe within that, maybe try to get a hitbox for like a crit on a headshot or whatever.
Right.
I think there could be some interesting things tried and, you know, there in an MMO to make it a little more user interactive. The only issue that I do see with that, and it's usually not that big of an issue because most PvPers like that type of combat because it is skill based. It's not just tab and spam,
right,
you know, your damage and then pray that you out damage them and kill them first because it's not really fun.
Right.
You know, because there's no
thought process.
No
it's just
real, like, you know, back and forth with damage and, you know, parrying. I mean, because in real combat, that's what you do. You swing and you block or you counter a spell or whatever, you know. And I think a combination could be good because then if you're a PvPer, you could, you know, basically rely on your skills. You know, if you do more of a crosshair or facing type of target, although I'm not a real big fan of just face your target and swing.
Right.
Because there's no skill in that.
Right.
If I'm facing you and I swing my sword within this huge area, then I hit you and everybody in front of me.
Right. I like smashing my face against the keyboard and having my player do something. That's how I play MMOs.
Right. Yeah, I like sitting my butt on my keyboard and bouncing up and down, and I win. So
it will have tab targeting, I'm sure. At least some form.
Some form of tab targeting. And I hope they get it right.
Yeah.
So I've always had a big pet peeve with tab targeting because A, it allows you to do some really bad things, and B, I have never understood the mentality, or maybe there's something about tab targeting programming that eludes me as to why it would be so difficult to get it right.
Yeah.
But in so many MMOs, my biggest pet peeve is hitting tab and it selects the farthest mob away.
Oh, absolutely. And for those people that are about to comment and say, well, you could change that. You
in what way?
Can.
It depends on the game.
Yeah, and we have, but still it selects the furthest one away behind you. And it's like, come on.
Right. So my whole thing is if you're going to have tab targeting, it needs to be a cone in front of you. Not a cylinder, a cone that extends X amount and, you know, has certain angles on it, right? Mm-hmm. So that if I tab target, it's always the closest mob within that cone, and then it goes further away.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And it only selects in that cone. And once I go into combat with, say, here's one of my other pet peeves, and other people might get really...
Way to go, Dustin, you got him going.
Pissy about it because, well, Dustin probably won't like this. But, like, say, okay, so I tag a group of mobs, right?
Uh-huh.
Or I grab, because some games have mobs that are linked. Like, if you hit one of them, you aggro all of them.
Yeah.
Which I like, you know, because I think maybe with the AI, though, I'm seriously hoping with the AI, it's not going to be, okay, well, I'm standing here and we have, you know, orcs that can clearly see me, but I'm not in aggro range. You know, I'm kind of going, yeah. I mean, there's got to be a certain amount of that.
So you want like the Vanguard Yeti bug?
I don't want the Vanguard Yeti bug. What I want is a reasonable. I hate, you know, in EverQuest, it was a reasonable amount of range. You know, it's kind of like, you know, in EverQuest, if, like, say I was, and it was level based, they could basically judge your level. So, like, if I'm an equal level, you know, then the aggro range is one thing. But if I'm a lower level, that aggro range actually increases. But if I'm a higher range, it basically decreases. So I can stand closer and not get attacked.
Right.
And if I'm way above the mob's level, I can practically walk up against it and it's not going to touch me unless I sit down, and then he's going to come over and smack my ass.
Right. I always liked being able to like hide behind something as a mob approached.
Right.
But didn't quite see me and then walked away. But as soon as you went behind them, they saw you, which made no sense to me.
Right.
So maybe that's going to be some sort of stealth.
Maybe. So back to the tab targeting. So what I think should happen is if I tag a group that aggroes me, when I go into combat, as I tab through those targets, that tab should no longer be everything within that cone. It should be everything on my aggro list.
No, okay, yeah, there you go. Now, see, you were worried about this being a short cast. You just get you going. And
I know. Ramble on and on and on. So, you know, and some people like, well, that's kind of dumbing it down. Well, I've played with so many people. I'm not going to say they're idiots, but because I've done it, everybody's done it, where you tab, and then, you know, because the tab targeting is, let's say, it's retarded.
Random.
Right, because then it's like, okay, so I'm fighting these two mobs in front of me and I hit tab, and instead of going to the next one that's like right next to me, it goes to one 100 yards away and I hit it and I aggro more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? How? It makes no sense.
It was horrible in Star Wars The Old Republic.
Right. And the only way that you can get around that is either to sit there and constantly tab until you find your target, or mouse click, which is even worse sometimes.
Especially for ranged people and all the melee in front of it.
Right. Yep. You know, so me.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so his next one was, in Landmark, can players build games out of it?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's eventually the goal. I was actually watching. It was a little video interview on EQNexus.com where Garrett Fuller was interviewing Dave Jorgensen, and they basically stated that as technologies and tools and AI is developed in EverQuest Next, they're going to be putting it into Landmark. So eventually the goal is that you will be able to build your own MMO, your own world in Landmark.
Yep, that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And you know, so basically I think it's going to be like the Minecraft killer. Because it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Dustin was also thinking about a PvP versus PvP versus PvP. So having like 3 factions or multiple factions, since I believe EverQuest Next will have multiple factions, battling it out in these PvP areas. So you can have 2 factions, enemy factions, ganging up on another faction.
So basically it's kind of like
Elder Scrolls Online. I think they're doing something like that.
Yeah, they're doing something like that where they have 3 separate factions. You know, I don't know. I mean, it all depends. If you have enough races, then you can do something like that. I'm a big fan of faction where it enhances the game world.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons why I really liked EverQuest, because there were factions and it limited where you could go to begin with. You could change your faction and then be able to go to those places. And I think I've talked about this before. I remember back in the day, a dark elf had come to Greater Feydark and started killing the Creshbone Orcs, which is the opposing faction to Neriak, the Dark Elf city. Mm-hmm. But it gained them faction with the High Elves. And I don't know how many they had to kill lot. And then they could actually go into the High Elf City.
Right.
Because of that. And I like that.
Right, yeah. 'Cause
I think that enhances the gameplay. I'm sick of these games where, guards just stand there.
Right, yeah, we are not a PvP guild at all. We don't. So we really don't have much insight on the whole PvP type thing.
In Dark Ages of Camelot, they had something called Realm versus Realm. So they were basically factions. And then you would go into these war zones where you would basically battle out with these factions. Guild Wars 2 does it.
Mm-hmm.
You have the two opposing factions. So what he's talking about is just simply adding a third faction to it. And, honestly, I guess it's not really that much different than 2.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to watch, you just have to watch your back and your side, and everywhere else because you just never know.
Kind of like spending the night with me.
Oh, God. Creepy.
Yeah.
But I think it also causes confusion because then how do you tell them apart?
Right.
In a lot of these games, they're different races and you can see the difference. But, if you don't have enough, like in EverQuest, you usually have your good aligned factions and then your evil. And then, in EverQuest 2, they actually had neutral that could be either good or an evil faction race. So I see how you could do it, but, it's like, where do you draw the line? So do you do it with, like, all the short races, and they're all aligned together, and then the human race or the taller races, and then you'd have your, like, dark elf, ogre, troll, maybe half giant, I don't know, races together. I don't know. I don't know that it would work. Because PvP is PvP. Why do you need 3 factions to beat up against?
There's going to be an evil and there's going to be a good, and we're going to be on the evil side because that's how we are. So
if you want to go that route, just open PvP.
There you go.
And it doesn't matter who you can stab your own race in the back. Who cares?
But there would be so much grief.
Kill everybody.
Oh my God.
Oh, I know.
Oh, it's horrible.
Seriously,
that's why we play on a PvE server. Thank you.
Right, because we do not like griefing because nobody's come up with any real consequences for PvP.
Right.
So my whole thing is when it actually enhances gameplay, and instead of being a tool for griefing,
right,
and causing me to not be able to have fun and get anything done, then I'll play on a PvP server. But I don't think that's ever going to happen.
And for you people that are like, well, you should just do it in a group, and if someone fucks with you, fuck them right back. No, fuck you, because that shouldn't happen in the first place. Right. I feel like I've had this discussion before with Bat.
Probably. So Bat, if you're listening, me.
Yeah.
So I actually played on a PvP server in WoW.
Yeah.
Because that's friends of mine from here where I live were like, hey, come join our guild, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I have nothing else to do. And it was a PvP server. And I'm like, ugh. So I actually learned, and this kind of tells you what a lot of PvPers, I'm not going to say all of them because they're not all like this,
but a majority.
But the griefers, the ones that do it because they like to see you squirm. I would get griefed over and over and over every time I tried to fight back. And I'm just like, I just want to finish my quest.
Right.
So what I learned to do was just stand there. They would be doing whatever. They'd come and attack me, and I'd just stand there. And they'd kill me the first time usually.
Right.
And I'd come back, and they'd attack me again, and I'd just stand there. And usually by the second time or the third time, they would just go away.
Gotcha.
And they would leave me alone. Because there was no enjoyment, because I just stood there.
Yeah,
like, oh, he's not fighting back.
That's crap, but anyway.
And it kind of tells you the mentality of those types of people.
You children.
Because, so anyway.
Okay, so obviously Dustin claims to be one of the show's biggest fan, but yet it seems like he doesn't listen.
He doesn't call. He doesn't write. He writes a lot, but he didn't call.
UI indicators, tags, glowy, trim, icons, chat, and data boxes. We kind of touched on this in a couple episodes ago. You won't have the question marks on top of the NPC's heads, but we did say they should, emit a glow or something where they have a quest or a turn-in or something.
Right. I actually have a different idea for this, and I've actually had this for kind of a while. So I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? With the newer technologies, I don't see why. Okay, so it's kind of a phased, kind of an instance type of technology. Why? I don't know. I mean, I don't see why a mob, couldn't basically greet you and say, "Hey, I need to talk to you."
Well, they might
or
with
wave at you.
They might. I don't know. It's we have no clue what the hell they have in store. I'm sure we'll see it on the round table questions. But
or call your name.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Map. Well, we do believe there should be a mini map. I love mini maps.
I would be completely okay with a oh god, what do you call it? Oh, the specific name when you make maps. What the hell is it called?
Mapping?
No, there's a name for it. Oh, my brain is fried. Anyway, so I think that would be a cool skill.
Yeah.
Kind of like the fog of war kind of thing. They already have it in games. But I think maybe the higher your skill, the more detail that you get on a map. Not that you necessarily have to create them yourselves.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Just give me the map and black it out like they all do and color it in when I walk across it. That's what I like. Let's see. Story, player story. I'm sure there's going to be a story in there, or at least a bunch of quests to give us something to do.
Oh, yeah. So here's my notes on the game mechanics.
Okay, here we go.
Of it, which was basically the only one. I picked out the one on his. So game mechanics, he was talking about the dynamics, the immersion, the feel, the flow, progression, a con system. He also goes on about gear and things like this. But so my idea was actually on the con system. So if you don't have health bars or any type of, like in EverQuest, when you tabbed onto a target, you had some indicator on their health bar or your target as to the strength of the mob, their level. Like in EverQuest, it was green, white, yellow, and red, and gray. So gray was like, I think 5 levels below you.
Oh yeah, that's basic for all MMOs, pretty
right.
much.
Some of them have varied from that. It's that. I was thinking, well, what if you kind of split that up? So maybe you don't have a con system that everybody, because they were talking about, you're going to have to fight mobs to see how tough they are, because there really aren't any levels, right? So you can't really have a conning system because everything's going to be the same almost. Well, maybe not the same, but you know what I'm saying. Within it's not, because there won't be any levels.
Yeah.
So you can go weaker and stronger. But I was thinking, well, maybe you leave that up to the player to figure out how strong or weak they are. But for like the different classes, maybe they have lore that they can maybe learn based on a skill set, like rangers, like an old D&D. Rangers had knowledge of animals, so they knew their weaknesses. They could actually do more damage against animals. So maybe they have or can gain knowledge. So like if they fight a specific animal, they can learn its weaknesses, and they eventually gain bonuses to those creatures. And then if you're in a party with a ranger that has learned that, you may gain that benefit with being in that group with the ranger. Wizards would have basically that same type of skill set with magical creatures, right? Because that's in their realm. Clerics could have the same thing for like maybe demons and otherworldly creatures, because that's in their realm, to banish those. Necromancers for the undead, and maybe there would be a cross there between the necromancers and clerics. Maybe based on that. I just think that might add some flavor and interesting things to the different classes to give you reason to actually want certain classes. Right. Because then you could basically gain those abilities, and you could I just thought it could be interesting to come up with a system like that, to break down the conning kind of, so you would know their strengths and weaknesses just by seeing the creature. Tiers of gear.
Yeah, they're gonna have tiers of gear. Yep.
Yeah, so he's talking about sockets and, perks and things like this. So, it all depends on the game and how they go. I think with a crafting system, it's kind of cool. One of the things that's a little annoying, though, so I'm actually playing Final Fantasy right now, and they have, I guess, the equivalent of sockets on gear, but it requires a crafter of a certain level to be able to add these things to gear, and it's specific to that crafting class, like grimoires and staves and stuff are alchemy.
Okay, gotcha.
So, and then the level of the weapon or whatever determines the level of the alchemist that has to do it. It's kind of cool, but it's also annoying because now, I mean, I get that you kind of need a crafter to be able to do that, and it causes
social
we've
interaction.
talked about it, that social interaction, but I don't know whether that's going overboard with it.
I think it is, because it just brings you down. You got to wait for someone to be on.
Right.
I mean, if it's a guild member, one thing, but if it's random fucking people, that's another.
Right. And I think, where they're coming from, so you have this, what they call, binding. So you use an item and the stat goes up to 100%. And once it goes up to 100%, you can then convert it into this,
I don't know how
these items. So you put these things that you convert, like say you just got a better weapon, right?
Uh-huh.
So you then convert it, and then it gives you a random, basically stat bonus that you can put in one of these slots.
Right.
So you can do that based on the class.
That's interesting.
But then you have to have an alchemist to be able to put that in to your grimoire, or be an alchemist. And then if I wanted to do it for, cloth armor, it'd have to be a weaver of a certain level, etc., etc.
Yep.
I'm kind of thinking that maybe crafters should make them.
Yes.
And then anybody can put them in their own gear.
Yes, because that will take away a little bit from the social interaction, but you're still going to have to request them from people, so...
Right, and it's something else that a crafter can make.
Yeah, don't put so much restrictions on it to where you need someone to actually put that in the
gear. I believe you should be able to break down gear for things that you can use to create other things.
Yes, absolutely. That way you have something to sell too.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, your junk gear, and I don't think anything should be soul-bound. I hate that.
No.
So, that way you can sell your old gear,
Mm-hmm.
To a crafter, and they can break it down and make other stuff out of it.
Exactly.
So,
reusable.
kind of like a thrift store. You sell it to the Salvation Army, and they can resell it.
Biodegradable in a crafter's hand.
Right. Yeah, well, once we get into a game that's not in beta,
all right, we'll be able to put some footage out there.
We can put some footage out there for our live casts, and we actually plan to maybe do these casts in game. So we'll be recording what we're doing in game while we're talking.
Right.
So we even have some silly ideas to actually, once we build like the guild hall, to actually have our characters sitting and filming it with the SOE emote so that our mouths move.
Yes.
And we can actually talk to you as our characters for the podcast. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yep.
Kind of dorky, but pretty cool.
I'm going to try to make it so my character never blinks.
Yeah, so I actually kind of talked about this last week. I think I really
trees.
want races that have stats that, let's face it, gnomes shouldn't be the strongest class. I mean, the strongest race.
Right.
They should be smart. They should be agile. Halflings are good at stealth, so they should have higher dex and be more geared towards maybe stealth class.
Right, and halflings are
ranger.
Immune to kicks in the nuts.
Right, but they are prone to broken noses because that's where their nuts should be.
Right. Oh, man.
Anyway.
But they're more prone to black eyes.
There you go. See? This is what we're talking about.
Ew.
No, but, the stats, and they should have, different races should have different abilities that make them unique.
Mm-hmm.
I've said it before. I do not like games that make everybody equal.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
It's like
we've talked about this before, Dustin. Come on, man.
It's like my friend who's got a degree in psychology, and she basically says you can't be both special and equal. Pick one.
Right. No.
It's not possible. So.
All right. So we did get confirmation from Dexella for prizes.
This is news to me. I haven't heard about this.
I know. I did
get shit from me.
Yes, I know. I did get a message from Dexella. She didn't. I didn't scare her away after I told her I loved her. It will be a monthly giveaway from SOE.
Okay.
In that month, we will field some questions to SOE and give their approval and make sure we got the answers correct before actually throwing it out there. Also,
I like that.
Also to build hype for the cast and get subscriptions so that you all hear the question and everything. So I think her listing us on that live stream, thank you so much again.
Yes.
helped a bit, because
Right.
I did notice we did get a couple more views. No new subscribers, but once you people start subscribing, we'll be able to do the prizes. I mean, we're talking,
Right.
Sony Cash, we're talking beta keys, we're talking once the game comes out, in-game shit, quite possibly. So, come on, it's up to you guys. If you guys
Right.
start subbing, we'll start dishing it out.
Right, and we plan on doing this cast until people like throw rocks at us and tell us to stop.
Right. In and out of game.
Exactly. Right.
But we might have to, when the game comes out, I don't know if we're going to switch what days, because right now we record on Tuesday night and it comes out Wednesday, right around noon. At least I try. But
Right.
I don't know if we might have to switch that up. But then again, I mean, it seems pretty good so far. So
It does, and I don't want to cut into my gaming weekend.
right, same
so-
here. Okay. This week's round table was about holidays, and I'm going to play something for you people, because a couple casts ago, we talked about how tall Darren McPherson is, and we got confirmation from Omeed himself. Listen up.
With me today is lead game designer and giant Darren McPherson.
Hello.
And we're
Lead designer and giant Darren McPherson. Thank you, Omeed. I believe they listen to the show. That fucking stokes me. I'm fucking hard right now. They listen to the show. That is amazing. That is awesome.
Once again, creepy.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's great. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
humbled, because
seriously.
it's like, out of all the podcasts that they probably listen to, they're probably far superior than ours. But I mean, just because someone's listening, that's great. That makes me blush.
Yeah, I had to run around work today and tell people. It's like, yeah, I think they're listening to us.
Yep.
Woo!
I told my wife, and she's like, mm-hmm. I'm like, no, come, you, because she doesn't believe me, so I had to play it for her. She goes, oh, cool. So these are the guys you're giving money to play their game? I'm like, yes, and they're awesome. Back off.
That does sound like your wife.
I know.
She's like, that's nice, dear.
Yep. But going back to the subject on holidays, they said the NPCs, their AI is so advanced, the NPCs will be aware of the holidays. They just say, they put in a command or whatever, it's this holiday, and the NPCs will react to that, which is fucking amazing.
And I actually asked the question, how do you think they should react to that?
Oh, well, like normal, but give you a ton of shit.
Right. So I think one of the things that you said was they could actually say happy whatever holiday, or, if there's like a specific greeting that they have set up for that holiday. Or maybe they act a little bit different on
Maybe.
the holiday. They act more merry. They're happier. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool. I was thinking not along the lines of the NPCs, but more of like the mobs. I think it'd be kind of cool if like the orcs, we know that they like abandon roads and things.
And stealing shit.
But see, what about the fact that maybe if it's a holiday where they give gifts, like a Christmas-like holiday or whatever, where they know, people carry more loots on these days, so maybe they widen their patrols or, beef them up so that there's actually more of them on this certain holiday at times at night or whatever, because they know they can get more loot from people traveling on the roads. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Exactly. That would be amazing. And then the next day when you kill them, you get that loot.
You can get that loot back. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and you have the choice of either giving it back to the people or keeping it yourself. So, obviously we would give it... No, fuck that. We would keep it.
It's a game. We'd keep it.
Absolutely. Well, what would be really cool is if they have some sort of Halloween type holiday, if you actually dress up in like, your appearance thing, and you dress up as something, if you click on NPCs throughout the game, maybe they give you a piece of candy or some coin or something that could possibly either boost stats
idea.
or change your appearance.
That's a good idea. You just kind of sparked my imagination here. Right. So you have specific holidays that are specific things, right? So, maybe like, just to use the holidays that we have as examples, like, a Christmas-like holiday. If you wear more festive colored clothing, say like reds and greens, Maybe people would actually react to you much more kindly. Maybe in the interest of the holiday season or whatever, that goes along with the lore, maybe they could give you a discount on something, throw in something for free, like maybe give you a present, if you go to their shop and buy something. Maybe people might, maybe groups of people go around caroling and singing.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
Or you could have holidays that could be deity specific, and that unless you're wearing the sign of the deity, like in a necklace or something, you get no reaction. But if you do, then you get that reaction from that group of people. I also thought of something else that could be kind of cool. Say you have a life day like they did in Star Wars Galaxies. It was basically Christmas. Right. So if you had a holiday that was for life or whatever, and you have necromancers, maybe they're opposed to that holiday and they actually react to you negatively, or even worse than they would on any other day.
That is cool.
Kind of like the Grinches of the world. I don't know. I mean, you could do so many cool things with that. Seriously.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a nice high note to end on. What do you think?
I think so too. I think this is where we ought to end it.
All right.
I can't think of anything else.
Nope. All right. Well, this was episode 6 of the Nightbreed Cast. I'm Ice Drift.
And I'm Ovigo.
Yay, you said your name right.
I know. It's awesome.
Thanks for listening. And to Mr. Butler, we are sorry for yelling at you on the very first cast. And yeah, I believe it was just the first cast. And Mr.
We hope it was. We hope it was the only time.
And Mr. McPherson, we didn't mean to offend you by calling you a giant, but you are fucking tall, dude.
Yeah, you're a tall dude. Yeah.
Omeed, you're cool. Thanks for throwing that in, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good time. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to the Nightbreed Cast with your hosts, Isa Drift and Avago. From all of us at the Nightbreed Studios, thanks for listening. And as always, thank you, Internet.